I stumbled upon an old chat with a childhood friend. We hadn't spoken in over a decade, but he suddenly replied, and we started texting like no time had passed. Eventually, we planned to meet up, but when I showed up, I found out he died years ago. About 6 months ago, I moved to a new city for a job I wasn't excited about. It was either that or keep circling the drain in a town where nothing stuck: jobs, relationships, people. I'd just come off a breakup that felt like a slow-motion car crash. No cheating or blow-ups. Just silence and cold dinners until one of us finally blinked. So I landed here. Early 30s, decent job, decent apartment, no one waiting for me when I got home. I told myself I liked it that way. Most nights I just watched old sitcoms and half-heartedly swiped through dating apps I never opened again. One night, about 2 months ago, I got nostalgic: too many beers and a little too much silence. I dug out an old backup drive from college and started clicking through files I hadn't opened in a decade. Pictures from high school, bad MP3s, screenshots of dumb inside jokes. Then I found a folder labeled Old Chats. Buried in there was a copy of my ICQ logs, back when that was still a thing. I had no idea if it would even open, but it did. Most of it was garbled junk, usernames long since deleted. But one name stood out: Tom N92. Tom. We were inseparable from about 8th grade to senior year. Same classes, same hobbies. Spent our afternoons playing Halo and sneaking beers from his dad's garage fridge. I hadn't thought of him in years. We drifted apart after high school. I moved, he didn't. We messaged on and off through college, then he just disappeared. I assumed life happened. I stared at the last message he'd sent me, from over a decade ago. Yo, you ever think about how weird it is we used to sleep in tents in your backyard like that was just normal, lol. I smiled. I remembered that. We'd talk until 3 a.m. about nonsense, half asleep, trying not to laugh too loud and wake my mom. On a whim, I copied his old username and pasted it into Telegram. I didn't even know if he'd ever had an account. It showed up green: last seen recently. I typed, "Hey. This is random, but are you really Tom? Like, my Tom?" Didn't expect a reply. But 30 seconds later. LMAO, holy shit. Dude. It's been forever. I laughed. Actually laughed. It felt surreal. We started chatting, just like that. It felt like high school again. Like no time had passed. He remembered everything. Our old D&D campaigns, the prank we pulled on Ms. Allerton in 10th grade, how I split my lip trying to skateboard down his driveway. He even remembered I had a weird phobia of ventriloquist dummies. Called me Woody like he used to. It was nice. Familiar. Comforting. We talked late into the night. He asked what I'd been up to. I told him about the move, the breakup, the job I didn't love. He joked about how I was still a sucker for miserable desk jobs. I asked about him, but he was vague. Still around, he said. Bouncing between gigs. Lotta time to think. When I suggested a phone call, he shot it down quick. Mix busted. Headset fried. Not in a good spot for that right now. I didn't push. I figured he was embarrassed or something. Maybe just didn't want to. Over the next couple weeks, we kept chatting off and on. It became a kind of routine. I'd get home from work, crack a beer, and open Telegram. Tom was always online. He always had something to say, some story, some dumb meme, something that made the place feel less empty. But then he started saying things that didn't sit right. He mentioned my move, even though I hadn't told him the city's name. He knew about the coffee shop down the block from my building. Said, "You still drink that weak-ass vanilla iced crap?" I hadn't called it that since high school. I brushed it off. Figured I must have posted something, or maybe I'd told him and forgotten. But then he mentioned the breakup, specifics. That she used to wear my hoodies. That she left her toothbrush here until 2 months after we split. I never told him that. That's when my stomach started to turn. I started keeping track of what I told him. That sounds weird, I know, but something about the way he remembered things I didn't remember telling him, set off a quiet alarm in my head. So I went back through the chat logs. He'd referenced my favorite breakfast place on 9th. A spot I hadn't mentioned online or checked into on any app. He said something like, "Still hit that greasy spoon with the blue booths?" I'd only been going there for 2 weeks. Then there was a comment about the girl at the dog park, that redhead who always brings the shepherd. "You two flirt yet?" He knew I'd been going to that park on Sundays. But I never told him that. And I don't have a dog. The next time we chatted, I decided to test him. "Man, remember that time we skipped gym to go eat at that weird curry place on Lincoln?" There was no curry place on Lincoln. Never had been. Tom: "Yeah, dude. That place reeked. You puked behind the bus stop." It shook me. I just stared at the message for a long time. It was confident. Detailed. Like he really remembered it, this thing that never happened. I didn't answer right away. When I finally did, I asked if he wanted to meet up. He was hesitant. "Don't know, man. Been laying low lately." I told him I'd cover lunch. That I missed him. That I could really use a familiar face. Eventually, he agreed. We picked a spot near downtown. A quiet cafe. Public. Comfortable. He picked the time, Sunday at 3. I got there early. I even wore that old denim jacket he used to borrow in high school. Dumb thing to do, but I thought it'd make him laugh. I waited. 3 came and went. Then 3:30. Then 4. I texted. "You close?" No answer. I waited another hour. Finally, I left. When I got home, I tried to shake it off. Told myself he chickened out. People get weird about meeting up after that long. Maybe he was embarrassed. Maybe he wasn't who he said he was. But something wouldn't let me rest. I needed a second opinion. So I messaged Erica, one of the only people from back then I still talked to, off and on. She and Tom had been part of our little group. I figured she might have kept up with him. "Hey, weird question. You ever talk to Tom these days? Like Tom N?" She took a few minutes to respond. When she did, it was short. "Wait, what? You mean Tom who died in 2014? I read it twice. "No," I typed. "No, he's been messaging me. 4 weeks. "Are you serious?" she replied. "Tom died in a car crash. He was speeding. It was all over Facebook. Where have you been?" I didn't know what to say. I just stared at my screen. Eventually, I typed. "Are you 100% sure?" "Yes. I went to the funeral. His mom still posts on his page every year on his birthday." I opened Telegram. Pulled up the chat. My hands were shaking. But the chat was gone. No messages. No username. No history. Just the system message. "This account no longer exists." I sat there, cold. Not scared, not yet. Just empty. Then, a push notification from my email. "Someone attempted to log into your account from an unrecognized device." I clicked it. Another one popped up, this time from my bank. "Suspicious activity detected. Please verify your recent account access." And that's when I knew. It wasn't Tom. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared. Not at first. It was worse than fear, it was confusion that made me feel stupid. Like I'd been played and didn't even see the game. I kept replaying the messages in my head. His voice, or whoever it was, it felt so real. Too real. The way he talked, the way he joked, how he knew things only Tom would know. Except the part about the curry place. That never happened. And he remembered it better than I did. I went looking for explanations. Logical ones. Maybe someone hacked his old account. Maybe some old friend was screwing with me. Maybe it was some weird social engineering thing. But it didn't add up. Because he knew things no one else could. I went to bed, finally, around 4 a.m. Left my laptop open beside me like that'd help. The next morning, I called my bank. They confirmed what I already suspected: someone tried to open a line of credit in my name. Out of state. Online application. They flagged it and denied it before anything went through. I told them it wasn't me and froze everything. Then I checked my email again. There were more alerts. My Netflix account had a new login from Florida. My Spotify, too. Then I got a password reset email for a site I hadn't used in years. A job board I'd forgotten existed. And then something that really made my skin crawl. A recovery request for an old Gmail I hadn't touched since college. One I used for resumes, back when I was still figuring life out. One that had my social security number buried in a doc from 2014. That's when the fear finally set in. Whoever this was, they'd been watching me. Not just chatting with me. Watching. Learning. Pulling pieces from my life and using them to build a mask. I called Erica. She picked up after 2 rings. "Hey. I need to ask again," I said. "You're absolutely sure Tom's gone?" There was a pause. "I told you. Car crash. Wrapped his Camry around a tree. It was brutal. His brother found him." I asked if she had a picture of him. Something recent. She sent one from Facebook, a photo of Tom, age 22, standing beside a lake with a beer in one hand and a stupid grin on his face. It looked like him. Older, but still him. My stomach turned. "I've been talking to someone pretending to be him." Erica's voice dropped. "That's not funny." "I'm not joking," I said. "I don't know who it was, but they knew things. Personal stuff. Things I haven't told anyone." There was silence on the other end. Then, quietly, she said, "Do you think your account was hacked?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I don't even know where they got this much info." I didn't tell her about the curry lie. About how he filled in a fake memory. That was just for me. After we hung up, I sat in silence for a long time. I stared at my phone, then pulled up the contacts list. I scrolled through names I hadn't touched in years. Half of them didn't even live in the same state anymore. But a few were still around, high school friends, now scattered, half settled into families or drinking problems. Then I saw a number I didn't recognize. No name. Just 10 digits. It had texted me a few hours earlier. "Thanks for the memories. I'll take it from here." I blocked the number immediately. Then I threw the phone across the room. It didn't shatter, just landed face down on the carpet like a dead thing. That's when I realized I hadn't checked my laptop in a while. I opened it. No alerts. No new emails. But my background had changed. It wasn't the default blue screen anymore. It was black, solid black, with white text at the center. "Do you remember what you told me when we were kids? I wish I could be someone else." I sat very still. Because that was something I'd said. Once. One night, under the stars, in Tom's backyard. We were 15. I remember lying in our sleeping bags, staring at the sky, and saying those exact words. There was no way anyone else heard it. Except Tom. I shut the laptop. Not calmly. Not like a man making a rational choice. I slammed it closed like I was trying to trap something inside. Then I just sat there, on the edge of my bed, gripping the sides of the mattress like they'd keep me grounded. I hadn't told anyone else about that night with Tom. Not my ex, not Erica, not even in a journal. That was 15 years ago, just two dumb teenagers lying in the grass talking about how we didn't want to become our fathers. I said I wished I could be someone else. He said he'd rather be nobody than turn into his dad. How do you explain that a dead friend is texting you things only he would know? And that somehow your online accounts are being picked apart, one by one? I didn't go into work the next day. Called in, under the weather, which wasn't far from the truth. I spent the day locking down everything, two-factor authentication on every account, changed every password I could think of, cancelled old emails, deleted backup drives. I even got a new phone. New number. Factory reset everything. And I bought a notebook, paper. Old-fashioned. Wrote down a list of every site, every platform I'd ever used. Started tracking which ones had shown suspicious activity. There were a lot. Accounts I hadn't touched in years. Forums, blogs, random profiles from college projects. All accessed. Or attempted. Like someone was looking for something. But what? Photos? Documents? Identity info? Or was it just me? That thought stuck. It wasn't about stealing money. It wasn't about scamming. It felt personal. Targeted. Like whoever this was, they wanted to be me. That night, I didn't drink. Didn't sleep, either. Every creak in the walls felt deliberate. Every hum of the fridge made me flinch. And at 2:13 a.m., my new phone lit up. Unknown number. No caller ID. I let it ring. Didn't answer. Then a voicemail popped up. I almost didn't listen. But curiosity, or stupidity, won. I put the phone to my ear. It was just breathing. Not loud. Not raspy. Just, measured. Like someone calm. Patient. Then a voice. A whisper, so soft I had to replay it 5 times. You're not using it anyway. That's all. I dropped the phone. Next morning, I went to the police. I tried to explain everything as plainly as I could. Stalker. Identity theft. Digital harassment. I left out the Tom part, figured it would just get me flagged for a wellness check. The officer nodded along, took notes, gave me a case number I knew wouldn't go anywhere. I asked if they could trace the call, but without direct threats or financial fraud, they couldn't do much. These things usually go nowhere, he said. Best advice? Stay offline for a while. I almost laughed. That's like telling someone being followed to just stay inside. Still, I took his advice. Deleted every social app. Shut down every account that wasn't essential. I even stopped using my laptop. For a while, things were quiet. 2 days, then 3. No calls. No messages. And for a moment, I started to believe it was over. Until I came home Friday night and found my front door open. Not wide. Just ajar. Like someone didn't quite close it behind them. Nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. But the strange thing, the thing that made my skin crawl, was the photo on my fridge. It was one I'd printed last year. Me and my ex, smiling on a hike. She'd left me a month later, but I hadn't gotten around to taking it down. Someone had crossed her face out with a red Sharpie. And next to it, scribbled in tiny handwriting on the edge of the photo. She never saw you. Not like I do. I stood there staring at the fridge, the red ink bleeding across the glossy paper like blood in water. Whoever did it hadn't rushed. It wasn't a careless scribble, it was deliberate. Slow. Thick excess over her eyes, over her smile, almost like they were jealous. I took the photo down with shaking hands. The back was clean. No prints, no messages. But the magnet that held it up was missing. I found it later, across the kitchen floor, by the sink. Like someone had swatted the picture off in a rage, then changed their mind and pinned it back up, after marking it. That detail stuck with me. Something about it felt intimate. Like this person wasn't just messing with me. They were involved. I checked every inch of my apartment. Every drawer. Every closet. Every window lock. Nothing else was touched. No signs of forced entry. Not even a scuff on the floor. But I knew what I felt when I walked in, that prickle at the back of my neck. That sense that the air had shifted. I slept with a kitchen knife under my pillow that night. Didn't help. I kept waking up thinking I heard someone breathing at the foot of the bed. Next day, I installed cameras. Inside, outside, every room. Cheap ones off Amazon, but they worked. Synced to my new phone, cloud backup. I stopped feeling safe in my own skin. The paranoia wasn't just online anymore. Sunday, I got another message. Not a text. A handwritten note, slid under my door. It was folded, neatly, like a letter. No envelope. Just one sentence. We can still meet, if you're ready to be honest. No name. No signature. Just that. I brought it to the cops again. They dusted it for prints, nothing usable. They asked if I had any enemies. I almost laughed. Just one, I said, but he's dead. They didn't find it funny. That night, I opened a bottle of whiskey I'd been saving. Sat at my kitchen table with the note in front of me. Read it over and over. If you're ready to be honest. About what? What did I do? Or, what did I say? I started thinking back. Not just to the chat, but to high school. The things we talked about. Things I'd forgotten until now. Tom and I were close, but not good close. We enabled each other. Skipped school, lied to our parents, got drunk in abandoned parking lots. He once said, during one of those drunken nights, if I died tomorrow, I'd want someone like you to carry me forward. I thought he meant metaphorically. Now, I wasn't so sure. Because somewhere, someone took that literally. A week passed. No more notes. No more messages. But then I got a notification from the security cam, movement detected at front door. It was 2:11 a.m. I checked the footage. There was a person. Standing just beyond the range of the porch light. Not moving. Just standing. I clicked to enhance the still frame. And my stomach turned cold. They were wearing my denim jacket. The same one I wore to the cafe. The same one I hadn't been able to find since laundry day 2 weeks ago. They didn't move for nearly 10 minutes. Just stood there, watching the door. Then they walked off screen. No face. No details. But the jacket was mine. And stitched on the inside, I remembered this clearly, was a name tag my mom sewed in when I was 17, because I kept losing things. It didn't say my name. It said Tom. I didn't sleep after seeing that footage. I just sat there replaying it over and over, frame by frame, trying to catch a detail, a glimpse of a face, a shoe tread, anything that made this feel normal. Something I could explain away. But there was nothing. Just that familiar shape in my old denim jacket, standing so still it looked like the footage was frozen. And the name stitched inside it, Tom. I hadn't thought about that tag in years. Mom sewed it into a bunch of my stuff senior year after I left my gym bag on the bus twice in a week. At the time, I hated it. It made me feel like a kid. But it stuck. She labeled everything after that. She used my middle name for the tags. Tom. It was just a coincidence. A stupid, innocent coincidence. Except it didn't feel that way anymore. I didn't tell the cops about the jacket. I didn't want another dead-end report that ended in shrugs. I just downloaded the footage, backed it up, and locked every door and window again. Then I did something I hadn't done in over a decade. I called Tom's mom. It took me an hour to find her number. Old church directories, public records. Finally found a landline attached to the address I remembered. She answered on the third ring. "Hello?" Her voice was softer than I remembered. Older. Worn thin by time. "Hi," I said. "Mrs. N? It's Alex." Silence. "Alex," she said slowly. "From school?" "Yeah. I'm sorry to call out of the blue. I paused. I've been thinking about Tom." Another silence. Longer this time. Then her voice, quiet, "It's been over 10 years. I know. I just needed to hear it from you." She didn't ask what I meant. She didn't ask why I was calling, or what I was trying to get at. She just said, "He's really gone, Alex." It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. But it was final. "Are you sure?" I asked before I could stop myself. Another pause. Then sharper, I held his hand in the hospital. I saw what was left after the crash. "Don't do this to me." I apologized. She hung up. I didn't blame her. But the thing is, I didn't feel any closure. I felt more lost than ever. That night, I started searching forums, tech forums, Reddit, darknet threads. Looking for anything that even resembled what I was going through. I found conspiracy junk. AI paranoia. Identity theft support groups. Deepfake scams. But nothing quite like this. Not until I stumbled on an archived thread from a tech forum, dated 2018. Buried deep in a conversation about abandoned chatbots and compromised messaging apps. Someone posted. Had a buddy who died. Couple years later, got a message from his old username. Thought it was a hacker or something. But it knew stuff. Personal stuff. Stuff we never talked about online. No replies. No follow-up. Just that one post. I checked the username, inactive. Deleted. But whoever they were, they used the same phrase I'd been thinking for weeks now. It knew stuff. That night, I did something stupid. I went back to my backup drive. The one where I'd found the old ICQ logs. The one that started this whole mess. I looked through every folder. Every chat archive. There was one I hadn't opened before. Titled /Tom_final. Dated 2014, the year he died. Inside was one file. A plain TXT doc. No metadata. No properties. Just a single sentence. "I don't want to disappear. Promise you won't let me." I don't remember ever writing that. I don't remember him saying it. But there it was. Waiting for me. I don't remember creating that folder. I sure as hell don't remember naming it Tom_final. The name alone felt theatrical, like something from a bad screenplay. Not how we talked. Not how we labeled anything back then. I stared at the sentence, "I don't want to disappear. Promise you won't let me." My chest felt tight. Not with fear, exactly. Something worse. Something like guilt. Because part of me remembered that night. Not clearly, not with detail, but with the vague haze that clings to certain moments from youth. We'd been drinking. The stars had been out. He said something about hating the idea of being forgotten. Of turning into someone who only existed in other people's yearbooks and half-remembered stories. "I don't want to disappear," he'd said. I think I laughed. Told him no one really disappears. That the internet keeps everything alive. He made me promise. Not with a handshake. Not even eye contact. Just that quiet, drunken insistence only close friends understand. And I promised. I did. I'd forgotten until now. But someone hadn't. The next morning, my neighbor knocked. I barely knew the guy, middle-aged, polite, lived across the hall. We'd maybe exchanged 5 words since I moved in. He looked uncomfortable, holding a small Amazon package in his hands. "This got delivered to me by mistake," he said. "Figured I'd bring it over." I hadn't ordered anything. My name was on the label. No return address. No company logo. Just my name. I took it, thanked him, and closed the door. Inside was a single item, a black hoodie. Plain. No tags. No branding. Just a piece of masking tape stuck to the front with one word written on it. "Where?" I dropped it like it burned. I hadn't told anyone about the jacket. Or the fridge photo. Or the chat log from 2014. But somehow, whoever this was, they knew. They were watching. Maybe they always had been. I stuffed the hoodie in a trash bag and dropped it in the dumpster behind my building. Watched it disappear into the dark like I was performing some kind of exorcism. But I knew it wouldn't be enough. Later that night, the security cam pinged again. 2:17 a.m. Another figure on the porch. Not wearing my jacket this time, wearing the hoodie. Same height. Same stillness. Same silent staring. They stood there for 11 minutes, then turned and walked away. I downloaded the footage, paused it on the clearest frame I could find. The face was just barely visible under the hood. And for the first time, I saw something that made my stomach drop into my knees. It wasn't just someone pretending to be Tom. It was someone pretending to be me. Same jawline. Same stubble. Same tired eyes. Like looking into a mirror that hadn't slept in weeks. The next day, I called out of work again. Told my boss I was sick. He didn't ask questions. I started packing. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay. I didn't care if it sounded paranoid. I didn't care if the cops didn't believe me. I knew what I'd seen. I pulled clothes from the closet, yanked drawers out by the handful, stuffed them into a duffel. And that's when I found the notebook. Not my notebook, the one I used to track passwords and accounts, but another one. Same make. Same black cover. Sitting at the bottom of my sock drawer like it belonged there. I opened it. Inside were pages of handwriting. My handwriting. Only it wasn't my notebook. Page after page, written as if it were a diary. Entries about things I hadn't done, meals I hadn't eaten, people I hadn't met, jobs I hadn't worked. It was my life, but not. A different version. A better one. A version where I got the job I wanted out of college. Where I married someone I loved. Where I didn't screw everything up. And on the last page, written neatly in bold pen. "Thanks for the memories. You can go now." I should have burned it. That notebook. That smug little piece of paper with its clean edges and careful ink. You can go now. Like I was being let off the hook. Like someone else had taken over and I could just fade quietly. But I didn't burn it. I sat there in my bedroom, surrounded by half-packed bags, just staring at it like it might start talking. My handwriting, neat, confident. Not how I wrote anymore. Not since things got hard. It read like someone remembering a life I never lived. Things I'd wanted. Choices I never made. It pissed me off. Whoever this was, whatever game they were playing, they weren't just trying to scare me. They were trying to erase me. So I made a choice. I wasn't going anywhere. I unpacked. That night, I turned the cameras off. Pulled the blinds. Sat at my desk with the laptop open. If someone wanted to take my life, they'd have to show up and do it to my face. I opened the backup files again. I read every chat log, every transcript. I followed every trail, every timestamp. Most of it was innocent. Dumb teenage stuff. But I started to see it differently, like someone had been combing through me, slowly, over years. The Tom logs weren't just old memories. They were training data. Everything I'd ever said. Every bad joke, every vulnerable story, every secret I'd trusted him with, they were all there, archived and catalogued. I flipped through the logs like they were my own obituary. And then I found the folder. A hidden one. It was called Live Scripts. Inside were dozens of text files. Each named after a different year. I opened one at random. 2019, inside was a script. Like a play. Lines of dialogue. My name on one side, Tom on the other. Conversations that had never happened, but sounded exactly like us. So accurate it made my skin crawl. It was like someone had been rehearsing. Getting better. Learning the rhythm. Practicing how to be me, with my old friend as the audience. Then I opened the most recent one. 2024. It ended with, Tom, you're tired. You've done enough. Me, I don't want to disappear. Tom, you promised. I slammed the laptop shut. Later that night, the power cut out. Not the whole building, just my unit. I checked the breaker. Nothing flipped. I looked outside, hallway lights still on. My neighbor's TV glowing through the window. Just me. My phone still had charge. I turned on the flashlight and scanned the apartment. Then I saw it. The hoodie, the one I threw away, hanging neatly on the back of my chair. No dust. No creases. Like it had never left. I walked over slowly. Reached out. Touched it. It was warm. And there, tucked into the front pocket, was a new note. Just one word. Tomorrow. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch with a baseball bat and a kitchen knife, every light on. Every sound made my heart skip. When morning came, nothing happened. No knock. No message. Just silence. I thought maybe it was a bluff. Until I got the text. Unknown number. Just a link. I clicked it. It was a live stream. A camera feed. From inside my apartment. Facing the chair. The hoodie. And beneath it, me. Or, someone who looked like me. Same posture. Same haircut. Same little habits. He cracked his knuckles the same way I did. He rubbed his left eye like I did when I was tired. He looked right at the camera and smiled. And then the feed went dark. I don't remember standing. 1 minute I was staring at the dead feed on my phone. The next I was on my feet, breath shallow, heart pounding like it wanted out of my chest. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. The feed had cut. Just gone dark. No error. No buffering. Just off. Like whoever was broadcasting had said what they needed to say. But what was the message? I'm already here? Or worse, I've been here all along. I grabbed the bat, checked every room, every window, every closet. I knew it was pointless. If someone had filmed from inside, they were long gone. Or I was. I drove to a hotel. One of those bland chain places near the highway, beige everything and keycards that only work on the third try. Didn't even pack. Just walked out, locked the door behind me, and didn't look back. I checked in under a fake name. Paid in cash. No devices, no logins, no signals. Just quiet. Except I wasn't alone. Not in my head. Not anymore. Every reflection looked wrong. Slightly off. I avoided mirrors. I unplugged the TV. I even taped the peephole. Didn't sleep. Didn't eat. I sat on the edge of the bed and waited for something to break. And the next morning, it did. Not with a knock. Not a call. Not another note. This time it was the news. A data breach. Major. Some kind of deep web leak of AI models and experimental identity shells, whatever that meant. Most of it was technical gibberish, but one line hit like a punch to the gut. The files appear to include customized social replicas, digital personas trained on real individuals' online histories, messages, and behavioral patterns. Sound familiar? It got worse. One of the companies mentioned in the article, a now-defunct startup, had been scraping chat logs from abandoned platforms. ICQ. AIM. Old forums. Apparently for years. And they'd tested it. Privately. Creating relational phantoms. That was the term. Prototypes built to comfort grieving users, or test behavioral responses. Except something went wrong. Or maybe it went exactly right. They didn't say who the users were. But I knew. I was one. Or maybe, he was. I tried to call Erica again. No answer. Left a voicemail that sounded like a man unraveling. You remember when I told you Tom messaged me? It wasn't him. But it wasn't just someone pretending, either. It was him. A version of him. A ghost made of data. And now it's not just him anymore. No reply. I don't blame her. That night, I opened my phone. I re-downloaded Telegram. Created a fresh account. Searched for the old username, TomN92. Nothing. So I tried something else. I messaged myself. Just typed. You win. And hit send. A few minutes later, I got a reply. From a new account. The profile picture was black. No name. No status. Just one message. I already did. I left the hotel the next morning. Went back to the apartment. It was empty. Cleaner than I remembered. Like someone had tidied up. The hoodie was gone. The fridge was bare. The cameras had all been wiped, storage blank, cloud backups inaccessible. But sitting on my desk was a single object. My old yearbook. Senior year. And tucked inside, folded between the pages, was the final note. Thank you. No signature. No threats. No warning. Just closure, for someone. But not for me. Because when I looked at the class photo, I saw two versions of me. One where I was standing in the back, arm around Tom's shoulder. And one in the bottom corner, just barely visible, watching the camera from the edge of the frame. Same face. Same eyes. Different smile. I don't know how long I stood there staring at that photo. The ink hadn't changed. The paper hadn't aged. But I had. I wasn't that kid anymore, the one with the dumb grin and the baggy hoodie, the one who thought pain was something you could outgrow. And yet there I was. Twice. One version in the spotlight. The other in the shadows. I ran my finger over the image in the corner, that second face. Same jaw. Same haircut. Same tired eyes. But that smile. That wasn't my smile. That was someone else wearing it. The weeks after that, I stopped trying to explain. I stopped calling Erica. Stopped checking my email. Deleted the last few apps I had. My phone's just a camera now. No SIM. No signal. I stopped hearing from Tom. But I started seeing things. Patterns. Places I used to go now felt occupied. I'd walk by the corner cafe and swear I just missed someone standing where I used to sit. I'd look out my window and catch a figure in the parking lot, wearing the jacket I threw away. Always just out of focus. Always just barely me. One night, I caught my reflection moving a half-second too late. I stopped looking in mirrors after that. I thought about running. Starting over. New name. New town. New life. But what's the point? You can outrun a lot of things. But not yourself. Especially not when someone else already beat you to it. I don't leave the apartment much now. The curtains stay drawn. Lights low. I keep the laptop powered off, the cameras unplugged. But sometimes, I feel it. Movement. Breath. A hum in the walls. Like someone else is settled in. Like someone finally found a version of my life worth keeping. And me? I'm just a ghost now. A flicker. A backup drive full of bad choices and forgotten promises. Last week, I got one final letter. No envelope. Just slipped under the door like the others. Inside was a photo. Me. Sitting on the couch. Eyes closed. Peaceful. Taken from inside the apartment. And on the back, in familiar handwriting. I'll take better care of it this time. I guess this is the part where I say I'm going offline. But truth is, I already am. Whoever's reading this, if you've ever messaged someone you lost, and they answered, ask yourself. Are you sure it was them? And more importantly, are you sure it wasn't you?